Hey everyone, this is Jalen with Daily Code Tips. Today we're going to talk about hooks. We're going to talk about useState. This is a way for us to use functional components and still use state within those components. So the old way of doing this was to use a class component if we wanted to use state. So we'd say something like export default class app extends react dot component, and then we'd render it and return it a div and say class name equals app for styling. And then let's say we have an H1 called daily code tips, and then we have a button here, type equals primary, and this button says click me, and then let's say we have an on click handler here that basically just updates the state, this dot set state, and it says it updates a state called toggle, and it sets it to the opposite of it. So we'll say this dot state dot toggle is not equal to false, or it's not equal to true. This will toggle the state from true to false, from true to false. And let's say we show and hide this H1 based off of that. So this dot state dot toggle, and we just say in here, we show and hide based off of that. All right, save that, and let's see what it looks like. And parsing error, only export default. Another thing here, we can't export default twice, so we'll remove that and then go back. Button is not defined. We'll go ahead and import button. Button is actually from the package ant design, so we will add that on and then reload the page, and there it is, click me. When we click it, it shows the H1. When we click it again, it hides it. And that's what state is doing. Whenever the state is true, it shows it. Whenever it's false, it doesn't. So every time we click it, it shows and hides that H1. Now, how would this work with useState with a hook? For one, what we want to do is use functional components. This allows us to make our code more modular. So what we're going to do is we're going to say function app, and we'll export default app, and watch how much cleaner this looks. We'll say useState from React. This is a feature in React that comes directly from it. We will return the div, have our H1 daily code tips, and we'll have our button type equals primary and click me, and then we will have our on click handler here, and this will call some sort of function. Now the way useState works is you can do some array destructuring here that will take two arguments. It will be the value of the state and the function that updates that value. And you can use the value to conditionally do things around the application. So we'll say toggle, and we'll say update toggle equals useState. And inside of here is going to be the default value of toggle, which is going to be false, like so. Now, if we conditionally render this H1, if we can do it like this. We can say toggle, and then we can put in here, and then null, like so. And then when we click the button, we can update toggle. So we call that function. And what this does is whatever value you pass in, it will update the value of toggle. So you can say toggle is not equal to true, just like that. And this is equivalent to the class component. So if we save this and run it again, and I will put on class name equals app, so center it. All right, we click it, it shows it, it hides it, just like the class component. And the good thing about using functional components, not only is it cleaner, it bundles down to a smaller size than a class component. So all in all, it's more performant as well. So using this is definitely a better option in my opinion. It's cleaner, more modular, easier to test. So I would definitely recommend checking out useState. We can look into the documentation here, React hooks. Just Google React hooks, and you'll find documentation right here. All right, and here's another thing that you can do with this useState. I love React Spring, so I just put in a transition component into here. I imported transition from React Spring render props, and then I passed on the toggle to the items key, and then I put some CSS on here where it's from. It starts at 30 pixels, and then it enters in, and then it leaves. Put the props on the style attribute, and then whenever we look at this in the browser, it will animate up, and then when we click again, it'll animate down. Animate up, animate down. useState, in my opinion, makes this look so much cleaner. If you look, a lot of new packages are actually introducing hooks into their API. Now, if you see use transition, it's actually using hooks here as well, where it's use transition. So I would definitely recommend looking into React hooks. It's definitely something that you are going to be using if you're going to work for a company. It's something that is new to React, and React is deprecating a lot of class methods. So I would recommend using React hooks because it's a lot cleaner, more modular. I want to thank you for listening in on this tutorial. This is Daily Code Tips, and I'm out.